calm down. I'm just realizing something that I would like quickly talk about. One thing that I've actually understood or picked up so far now about my skill of ability of being able to receive downloads, revelation about life, about our ways of being and all that stuff. One thing I have learned so far with this ability, because it took me a while to really grasp it at some point. Some things I'm still learning though. But there's this one thing that I'm actually very much aware of, is that whenever there is a message to be spoken, sometimes some message they come as a new way of seeing, obviously, because I'm all talking about lenses and dimensions and belief systems and concepts of life and standards of living. And sometimes I come with the message that is acting as a catalyst of change to old ways, old beliefs, old patterns of and behaviors of our that we actually have in our human making. So obviously, sometimes part of me being a human that carries those energies, those shadows, tend to be resistant towards them, because I'm like, because I have both of them. I have both the shadows and also the light, and the light would be the part that is untainted by the shadows, that actually brings a sound information that is informed by a divine energy or a higher sense of self, that it has the ability to see things for what they are, that has no preferences or biasness, or doesn't have an agenda. Do you understand? Whereas our egos are formed and wired in that way, that we need to survive, we need to feel safe, we want to be seen, loved, heard, and acknowledged. That's all comes with our natural ego, and that is normal. Okay, so sometimes I get to witness these two at war, in a sense, or at play. Thank you, not at war. At war or at play, I would say both, because at play will be the lens of my higher version self, where it's able to see everything. So it's at play because everything has its own place and a role to play within the whole spectrum of being, according to that lens of seeing. Whereas an ego, if things do not get along, that's war. Do you understand? So it's both ways, right? But one thing that I'm actually like picking up, I'm aware now how, when a new information is coming, how my ego will tend to resist it. Like, is it okay? Like question things. That thing is still there. That's the insecure part, which comes with the ego. So the state of being insecure normally, naturally comes with us approaching life, seeing life only through the lens of an ego, because the lens of an ego, again, doesn't have the capacity, ability to see things for what they are. It tends to see things from a distorted position, like fragmented state of seeing, and that which also kind of like influence our way of approaching or position ourselves or relating to any life circumstances being given. Do you understand? So thank you. So I'm being aware, like, okay, my mind start to feel some sort of a way, or like, or even play tricks, like just to dismiss what is coming, because clearly it's like it's aware. If this truth comes in, if Tandy gets this and really receive it, that is going to be the law. Like, it's beautiful, like, to witness that in my head. Like, it's like my higher self creates the laws. Do you understand? It says, okay, after 7 years, you've been seeing life from a state of being a victim, and you've believed and you've been actually living in a victim mentality, and you actually became one with it, and it has served its own purpose in your life. Now that you've learned and understood its own patterns and how it shows up, through being insecure and wanting to survive and wanting to protect and want to be defensive and all that stuff, it all shows the symbols of an individual that is actually living from a state of victimhood, that says life is against them, that life is against them but not for them. People who are more influenced by their own shadows, the guilt consciousness and shamefulness, and feeling power trips and all that stuff. It's all coming within an ego, and you've mastered that. So it's like, yes. And usually what will happen once your mind has mastered something, like has already embodied a phase or dimension or lens of seeing, siyabonga, then a new law will come. Like, a new law maybe say, okay, so you've lived there, now you're going to live what it's like not to be a victim in life, not to be coming from a state of being limited. You're now going to live from a state of being limitless, of abundance, not of lack. You're going to feel whole, not feeling less. You're going to feel comfortable, not feeling discomfortable. You're going to feel grateful and not taking things for granted. Do you understand? And that becomes a way of life for whatever individual that has actually reached that point of seeing in life. They are bound to, because the mind has already shifted, the transition has already taken, the laws has already been passed, and the only thing now is actually is in motion is the transformation with that person's way of being, how now they're actually changing their lenses of seeing life and all that stuff, and embodying this new law, which is living in abundance, living in grace, living in open-mindedness, and living in place of fulfillment and feeling whole and connected, and being one with life as a whole, seeing value in life, in things that maybe in the past you could not even see those things. But because you have this new lens now, it allows you to see things for what they are, as they are, without having those veil covering your lens of seeing. So I wanted to talk about the karma, and how one day I was actually, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I received this vision, vision of being a karma, queen of karma. Yes, queen of karma. And I remember how my mind reacted, which is a pattern. I've come to notice and realize that that's a pattern. Whenever great news are coming, my own ego would actually betray, unconsciously though, like self-sabotage. It would actually get into the way by resisting the change, resisting what is coming, because it's not a comfortable place to be. And by nature, our ego likes comfort, likes to feel comfortable. And do you understand? So I am actually witnessing now how these patterns are coming more in the forefront, are being seen, and being aware of them, and knowing where they come from and all that stuff. So as to like respect them as well. But I'm actually being reminded of that. I feel like 4 years ago I kind of rejected this download. I got it, everything, but I struggled actually to understand it. One, I lack the spirit of discernment, the spirit of understanding, and at the time I was very impatient, I would say. So when I got the message, I was like, oh, sounds cool. Yeah. Because my ego is all about having powers and having, control, and, feeling, also appearing in a certain way, performing, my ego is like that. So for me at that time, I saw this as risky to talk about such things because I didn't like to be in a hotspot where I have to be criticized or questioned and all that stuff. So I rejected as like queen of a karma. But now, like now I'm understanding it now. Like wow, actually that's what I've been trained. Or second option, it could be that I was initiated to the Queen of Karma's ways of saying, and today now I can actually like receive it wholeheartedly without doubts and questioning and fear-based mentality, because now that I understand the meaning behind it, what is the function of being a queen of a karma? What do you mean that you're a queen of a karma? What is it? What do you see that, that makes you put you in a position? Again, these things, it's not my creation as a person per se. It's what I receive. And I have written many books that I never had to sit down and strategize and think about anything. Books are written, and honestly, they haven't been published. Not because there is something right or wrong about it, because where I stem from, my higher conscious life, it doesn't have this sense of pressure, like you have to do things now. You make things happen now. Everything is in order, is done in order. Like there's time and a place for things to take place. Nothing that happens in this world happens by coincidence or mistake. So that, knowing those laws, knowing those realities, they apply also in my life. Like I know I don't get to be where I am just by mistake or by, everything in my life happens accordingly. And that's one thing I can say, because I've been reflecting in my life since I was a child and how everything has worked out. It turns out that it had to be the way it was so that things could be the way it is now. And there is no like end point, there is no beginning, there is no end point. It has been going forever. Do you understand? And knowing that has rendered me in a place of openness and open-mindedness to life, to unfold as it is, allowing things to take place however they are, and facing the fear-based mentality that I used to entertain, no longer now fueling the energy of fear in my life, in my place of seeing. I am aware of the dimension of fear-based mentality and how it shows up, but it doesn't move me or doesn't shake me, doesn't make me anything. Do you understand? Fear is just fear. Fear is playing a role within the whole spectrum of life, just like love and passion does so. It's just the whole play of life. In the end, it's all dance of life, in my own way of saying. So now I'm like, oh yes, now I receive this karma, because now I've been, connecting dots, and like, oh, basically that's what I've been doing all along. Like the reason that I am in the position that I am today, feeling the way I feel about life, being weirdo and being unique and being different, when it comes to approaching life, having challenging times in my life, because I used not to see things like majority, and that used to frustrate me a lot. That used to frustrate me to come across, as crazy, as weird, as code names, and just because you do not appear, sound, or reason like other people. As much as it used to frustrate other people, it frustrated me myself as well, until I actually went in and really did my work, shadow work, which has helped me a lot, and to uplift that veil and really break the ceiling of the glass ceiling, so I could liberate my soul and be myself and be my authentic self, regardless what the case may be, and always choose myself, and always choose my sense of connection, which is my first love language. So yeah, I see now clearly, like, oh, okay, that is easy, that is nothing. Like, and I also know what used to block me in the past that has led me rejecting this whole thing from a lens of being an ego. But seeing things from a higher perspective, you get to learn that actually we get initiated to this path. We don't just show up in a place of love and being grateful for life and feeling honored about life and happy and content with life when other people are seeing things different. We don't just show up. And I think that was the issue with me not understanding in the past, because I've always been this cheerful, crazy, wild butterfly person who's a happy-go-lucky. Yes, I feel the thing that everybody does, but the weight, the pressure that comes from the worldly life and everything that happens does not have a power to pull my energy down. That's the reality. So what happened is this. I think out of as compassion, I feel like it was not compassion. I feel like compassion comes with clarity. Otherwise, other stuff is just enmeshment. Yes, enmeshment, that distorted place where you have to do like others, because if you don't, then you are going to be disowned, you're going to be called names. So the fear, yes, the fear-based mentality then tends to need to survive when it finds itself in such situations. So I would find myself in such position as a human, then I will feel the need to protect myself. Therefore, I will actually, comply, comply and accept things in it, even though I know for a fact that's just not me. That's, I'll just, do it just for the sake of doing it without understanding the laws behind it, not understanding what I'm doing in actual fact, because every choice you make counts, whether you're afraid or not. Everything you make, it counts. How you choose to approach anything matters. It's what you are investing on. It's what you are actually planting. That's what you're going to reap. So the journey for the past 5 years, 4 years, has been teaching me the patterns of actually creating the kind of life experience that I want. If I say I honor connection, then I should apply connection to my ways of reasoning, my narrative story that I choose to align with, how I relate on them, how I position myself to life, how I choose to take action and conduct situation. That's very important. Because in the end, whatever choices I'm making, regardless what the case I'm currently facing, because that is life is always gonna give you something to deal, task to work with. It doesn't matter, it could be anything you think. It could be a thought, a situation, a person, a thing, whatever, an animal, it doesn't matter. Life, all of us, we are at this school, we are all learning one way or another. Some of us are still asleep, just like I was before, not aware. And most people, I'll tell you for a fact, most people who are suffering in life are people who are not awakened, and there is nothing wrong about that. Nothing wrong about that. If you're suffering, if you see life through the lens of pain, that is normal. There is a reason for you to be there. I say that including, counting myself in, because that's how I've learned to get where I am today. I had to learn that, the laws that are active, the belief system that I hold to be true to me, counts a lot to my decision making that I make on a daily basis. I had to learn that. I had no idea. So I used to just wing life. Now I live an intentional life. I live a purposeful life. I am consciously choosing how I should actually handle anything, how I should conduct myself, how I should position myself in any situation being given in my life. I don't just do things because I feel this will actually make me feel better, or I will actually no. I used to, yes. But now I don't do that because it's no longer my energy, it does not, it's no longer serving in my, it's no longer serving. I feel like I've outgrown that, just like a little child when they grow up. Do you understand? I feel like you've outgrown that phase, that state. I've outgrown it. The only state now I feel like I'm thriving, I feel grounded, is a state of oneness. It's a state of unity, a state of harmony, of flow, of connection, of living in connection, and of choosing consciously to approach any given thing from a state of unity. And okay. So if even now you can actually see how many times I'll just stop sometimes and just breathe and stuff. Because even this is not separate from who I am, from what we're doing, from life as a whole. It's all together. I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel. In fact, the vessel is just a vessel to serve what needs to be served. And all these are just, concept. These are concept of consciousness, they're coming true. Once you reach this phase, then this is a new concept in your life. This is a new lens. This is a new dimension. It's like levels or layers, you would say. So nothing lasts forever. But the whole promise that we have is growth. Growth, remember? It's growth. All of us, we are meant to evolve. In fact, it's not even meant to, we are evolving. Regardless what the case, whether we can see it or not, we are in that spinning wheel of evolution. So part of being in that, we also learn that there is karma. Life is a result of karmic energy. Life as you see it, as you feel it, as you think, as you know it to be, is a part of karmic energy. So Queen of Karma is more like the one who has now reached the point where they are aware. You have done that work where you're learning about karma. You know that you have responsibility. You're accountable of your own actions, your own reasoning, your own thinking. Life doesn't just happen out of nowhere. In fact, you are actually playing a part too. You have a part, a role to play. So you are responsible. Your actions matter. They count and they speak. And in the end, you are creating the kind of karmic energy you feel from yourself is aligned with you. For example, in the past, I would actually act from a place of being impulsive and insecure, because that was the law. That was the belief system, that when I feel in some sort of way or something triggers certain thing, then I should respond in that way. That was wired in my DNA, wired in my software of being in a human form. But the moment I got enlightened to that reality and I got to learn, unpack it, how it comes to be in action, why I will react in a certain way. Not that it's wrong or right, but how does it come? That's when then because there's a saying, then once you see, you cannot unsee what you've seen. So once you get enlightened to reality, there's no way you can act blindly, because it's going to be constantly here. Like your conscience or conscience, yes, you name it. But that sense of awareness is right here all the time. Your action, even if you are doing something, you can't ignore it, because it's there and you know the facts, the truth about it. Do you understand? So one way or another, you end up actually embodying it. And that's what is happening with this Queen of Karma. Because that's basically what I'm actually doing now. I can see in my relationship with people, all I'm bringing just awareness. I'm bringing awareness. I'm actually channeling awareness, to every relationship I have. It's all about awareness. Be aware of your actions. Be aware of your reasoning. Be aware of how you choose to relate to your way of seeing things in life, people, situations, your feelings, your thoughts, your narrative story. Be mindful. Be mindful, because all that is the result of how you're going to feel in the end of anything, in the end of the day. You feel how you feel not because of the circumstances that life gives to you. You feel how you feel based on the mindset that you have. It is your mindset that gets applied when you are navigating life. Hey, siyabonga. Hey, siyabonga. Thank you. Love and light, to leave it here. Bye.